Hey guys, this is Kashish Khan. Today I'll be starting with one of the most unique series on YouTube where we shall be covering entire keywords of class 11 as well as class 12 ICC board. The mode of this communication of this channel for communication would be mixed. It will be partially in English and partially in Hindi. So without wasting any further time, let's begin with the second chapter of class 11, basic concept of economics. So here we go. What is human want? Human want. First of all, before understanding human want, we should proceed with human desire. What is desire? Desire is a wish. Wish to have something. Wish you wanted something. And what is human want? A want is an effective desire which can be satisfied by making an effort. So, first of all, let us differentiate with desire. Desire is basically just a wish, but want is an effective desire which can be satisfied when you make an effort and you have it. So, what is the classification of human want? It is simply, if we connect it with simple life, what is human want? Basically, we have two types of want. First is your primary, like you want food, clothes, a house. This is your primary want. And secondary wants would be car, AC, cooler, iPhone, something which add comfort, which add luxury to your life. So, connecting your personal life with this concept book, we shall further elaborate it like primary wants are those which is important for existence of human life and the maintenance of human efficiency. On the other hand, the secondary want is like comfort and luxuries of life. Further, we can divide secondary wants into want for comfort and want for luxury. What are the features of human want? So, if you want something, what is characteristic of such want? First of all, want is never ending. Like sometimes you want this, sometimes you want that, sometimes small, sometimes large, sometimes big, sometimes. So, human wants are unlimited and endless. Here the keyword is unlimited and endless. Second, human wants are complementary. Like, to quote with an example, like sometimes you want cold drink. It would be either Pepsi or Coca-Cola. Ultimately, it's complementary. Like, it's not static. Either you can have this or you can have that. Substitution of one another. Like, if you want to drink cold drink, you may also drink lassi. Or if you want lassi, you may drink with any other sweet drink. So, want are competitive, like we are in the era of competition. There are many things like where we have intense competition. Like if you want phone, we have iPhone, we have Samsung, we have Vivo, we have Oppo. So, want are competitive in nature. Here, the keyword is man has limited income because we can't buy everything, but our want is never ending. Humans are complementary, like want coexist. And here the keywords are a particular want can be satisfied either by one or by another. Next, point number 5, want multiplicity. Like, for example, when you were a child, you just want a ball, but when you grew up, you want as ball as well as bat. Suddenly you grow up, you want ball, bat, and the stadium. So, want multiply with your age, with your learnings, with your maturity, with science as well as technology. Hence, we can conclude that want multiply over the time. They tend to multiply over the time. So, this is the keyword. want reoccur. The basic characteristic is want can only be satisfied temporarily. Like if we want anything, it's not the end. After a certain point of time, we again want that same thing. Hence, we may conclude want always reoccur. It is never permanent. It's always temporary. A single want can be satisfied. So, you can mark this. Some want can be postponed. Obviously, there are many wants, either because of budget or because of time. Many wants you have to postpone or sacrifice. Want differ in urgency. As we all know, same point is getting repeated but with a different language. So the keyword would be is that they differ in their urgency and intensity. Want remain ahead of availability of goods and services. So you can mark this point. So we have finished the all characteristic of human want. So to conclude, wants are unlimited, wants are complementary, substitution of wants are competitive, wants multiply, wants reoccur, a single want can be satisfied, some want can be postponed, want differ in urgency, wants remain ahead of availability of goods and services. Let's shift to the next topic, consumption. Consumption are needed to satisfy human want. So, till now we have gained knowledge upon what is desire. After that, we proceeded with what is human want. Now, how a want can be satisfied? This can be done with consumption. Consumption is a process where we consume things, we do what we desire, and ultimately it will lead to complete or satisfy a human want. So, the keyword would be consumption are needed to satisfy human want. Consumption can be many ways, either in goods or in commodity. It can be a process, it can be an article, it can be anything. What is sustainable consumption and what is difference of consumption as well as sustainable consumption? So, a consumption is simply consuming, but a sustainable consumption is consumption like consuming but with a sense to meet the need of the people in future and improve the quality of life without having adverse impact. So, we can conclude that consumption is just consuming, but a sustainable consumption is consuming with responsibility for future generation, which will ultimately enhance the quality of life without compromising for future generation. So, these are the significance of consumption. This is this basic point. You may read it later. Now, coming to the most important concept of this chapter, utility. Let's revise till now what we have studied. Desire. Desire is a wish. Want is an effective desire. Consumption is a process to achieve your want. And utility is that satisfaction. So, when we consume our thing, a commodity, we get a point of satisfaction, and that is called utility. So, utility refers to the want satisfying power of a commodity. It is the ability of goods to satisfy want. So, goods which satisfy our wants is purpose that add value, and that is the reason why people are ready to pay a price. What are the futures of utility? Utility is subjective. Like if you want something which is important for me might not be important for you. Here comes the concept utility is subjective. It depends upon individual. Utility is non-measurable. Obviously, it's the subjective in nature. It's more up for important when person want at time it to want. It is not a science or rocket which can be measured. It is just a feeling which only a person can understand. So utility cannot be measured. It is a subjective term as shown in the first para. Utility is relative. And again the same point. It is not absolute. It depends upon person to person, need to need. Utility is different from usefulness. Oh, so this is interesting. Something which is very important, very useful, might not be useful for you. For example, your father drives a car. He goes to the office with car. For him, that car is very important at that particular point of time, but it is of no use for a 5-year-old boy. So, please don't misunderstand that utility is same as usefulness. It's completely different. Utility is simply what satisfaction you are getting from consuming a product. So, we may at this point of time, we may conclude that utility and usefulness are two different things. So, second last point, no moral, no legal connotation. For example, cigarette might be very useful for a smoker, but it might be it might have very much utility for a smoker, but in general, in society, it is not considered a very good thing. Rather, it is considered as a taboo. So, ultimately, this point wants you to tell that utility has nothing to do with usefulness. Same concept applies here. Utility has nothing to do with your moral or your legal connotation. At last, utility is abstract. This is the point we are studying since start. Like utility, want, desire, these all are subjective in nature. These things have nothing to do with your reality. It is abstract, like it cannot be seen or touched. What is total utility and marginal utility? So, for example, you are consuming mango, you are getting a satisfaction level. You are consuming another mango, you are again having satisfaction level. So, the total utility is that satisfaction you are achieving in total in consuming 10 mangoes. But the marginal utility is that the satisfaction you are achieving in having and one additional mango. So, total utility is simply like if you have consumed 10 mango, what utility you have got from the all 10. But marginal utility is that you are consuming third mango, and when you are consuming fourth mango, what is the additional you are deriving after consuming third but before fourth? So the keyword would be total utility refer to the entire amount of satisfaction obtained from consuming a given quantity of food and a commodity. On the other hand, marginal utility is additional utility arising from consumption of one more unit of a commodity. So, in formula, you may write it like for marginal utility, take the total utility minus like second utility, you will get the additional utility. You may also quote this formula. So, coming to the next topic, production. Let's revise till now. What is desire? Desire is a will. Want is an effective desire. Consumption. When we consume product, the level of satisfaction we get is from consumption. And utility. Utility is simply want satisfying power. What is production? So, the production is act of making food, commodity or a service. Like if we don't produce thing, would not be able to do the entire thing which we have covered till now. So production is the very first step to make or produce goods or services. So production is nothing but a process to the object. Utility can be added to object in the following way. Forms utility, like it can be added when it is converted from one form to another form. Place utility. For example, when there is very cold in one part of a country where there is lack of sweaters or woolen clothes, so in that place any woolen from another part of the country would be of very much utility. Time. When and then when the goods are required. And service, like when we are sick, we seek for doctor. When we study, we go to teachers. When we need to transport our goods, we go to transporter. So utility can be divided into four main forms: form utility, place utility, time utility, as well as service utility. Therefore, anyone who helps to make goods or service is called producer, and producer produce goods and services, and the process is called production. What are the factors of production? So, let us stand it very simply. To produce things, what we want? We want a factory. We want machinery. So, the technical term would be we want capital. Next, obviously we want like place, land, an area to produce thing. So, the second is land. For now, we have land, we have capital, but we want person to produce, to do work, to convert our raw materials to finished goods. So at third, we want labor. And most importantly, this complete three things would be of no use without an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is a person who has the idea, who has vision in his mind to convert from a raw material to a finished goods. So, factors of production are land. It includes all those free gifts of nature such as land, forest, mineral, which are commonly called natural resources. Labor. It is human efforts, both physical and mental, involved in the process of production. Capital. It is defined as man-made or produced means of production consisting of such small things like machinery, tool, equipment, and factory buildings. Entrepreneur is the one who organizes production, take important decisions regarding production, and bear the risk and uncertainty involved in the production. So, coming to the next part, characteristic of factors of production. Production is the outcome of cooperation. All these four components has to cooperate with each other, has to come together to produce an outcome. Here comes the point. Production is a outcome of cooperation. The next is all factors needed to be combined. As I have said you earlier, an important characteristic of factor of production is the service of factor rather than the factor itself that contributes to production. All factors of production have a physical existence. All important fact about factors of production is the demand of production and is called derived demand. Lastly, all factors of production do not have the same mobility. The term mobility refers to the ease with one factor can move from one employment to another and from one place to another. Like in this point, it is trying to tell that, for example, a laborer is residing in a particular place, and if you want him to travel, he would, since he had a complete family left behind, he does not have that much flexibility or mobility. Therefore, all factors of production do not have the same mobility. Like it's easy to dislocate a particular small plant to one place to another, but when it comes to a very large building or when it comes to labor, it's very difficult to locate them from one place to another. Now coming to the next topic, price. What is price? Price is a unit or the amount of money which one has to pay to get the goods. So the price is the unit or amount which has to be given up to get the commodity. Goods like air are the gift of nature as free goods and they do not have price. But once the goods is produced by a manufacturer, it comes from for a price. What is general price level? General price level refer to the average level of prices of all goods and services produced in economy. What is inflation? Inflation is defined as the process of persistent and appreciable rise in general price level. Just to simplify you for this, inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is a particular process of increasing prices. Like 20 years ago, when your parents, approx 40 years ago, when your parents were a child, they can acquire anything with high value in just 5 rupees. But today, even chocolates is now becoming at least for 10 rupees or 5 rupees. So, over the period of time, with a particular constant time, prices go deflate and the prices increases over the period of time. So, the value of money decreases but the price increases. There is always an indirect relationship. When the value of the money falls, the price suddenly and gradually grows up. This is a process or phenomena which we call inflation. Inflation therefore, in simple, it is the process of rising prices and not a state of high price. It is always gradual. It's never spike. So till today we will be covering till inflation, and in the next class we shall be starting with demand, pull and cost, and in the next class we will come to the end of this chapter. Thank you so much. Please do support this efforts of mine and do subscribe the channel if you find it useful. Thank you so much.